Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shah, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kurak Badash. All praises, honor, glory, love, respect, faith, and power, and trust, and all credit to my Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and my Heavenly Big Brother, Yahweh Shah. Thank you so much for what you've done, what you're doing, and what you're going to do. Double honors to the apostles and elders and bishops of GMS, Great Millstone, who I learned from, and all the men scattered all over the world, teaching this truth, and none but the truth in the name, spirit, and the power of Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shah. Trying to put a spiritual bug in you Hebrew Israelites' ears, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, and you speckled birds. And what is a speckled bird? That'd be a Hebrew Israelite that look like some of the heathen nations, like, for example, a Hebrew Israelite that look like a so-called white person, or so-called Chinese person, etc., etc. Another video of the plagues of the Lord all over the world. The Lord is spreading plagues everywhere, from the north, south, east, west, and it ain't got to be natural disasters, but also affecting your logistics, like cyber attacks hitting up the ports of North Carolina. And so anyway, I'm gonna start off with that video and work on down with all these other videos, and I'm gonna get into the scripts my best ability, say whatever God say through the spirit and power, Yahweh Shema Shah, the Holy Spirit, the Kurak Dash, Lord willing be on me. Let's get it.
North Carolina state ports got hit by a cyber attack. Signs at the front gate along Shipyard Boulevard in Wilmington said expect delays because the attack disrupted operations here and at sites in Morehead City and Charlotte. WECT's JC Caldwell reports on the details we know and what we're still trying to find out about that attack.
Officials say a cyber attack late Tuesday into North Carolina Port's IT system is causing some disruptions to operations here at the port in Wilmington. As you can see, signs posted at the gates said operations alert, system issues, expect delays. Details about the alert are also posted on the Port of Wilmington website page. Port representatives said the crews at the Wilmington site delayed opening on Wednesday and then went into manual operations at the gates. They did not say how extensive the hack was or where it came from. We're also waiting to learn more about exactly how the hack impacted operations at all three port locations in Wilmington, Morehead City, and Charlotte. A spokesperson did say, right now it does not appear any sensitive data was compromised. A statement from North Carolina Ports says in part, quote, the North Carolina Ports IT system was hacked by an outside actor or group. Our IT team immediately enacted our cybersecurity contingency plan and engaged relevant partners. The breach has been contained and we are now in the recovery process, end quote. A spokesperson did not give us a timeline on when the full system would be restored and back to normal, but we'll keep you updated. Reporting in Wilmington, JC Caldwell, WECT News.
The climate change is reshaping agriculture across continents, forcing the farmers to adapt to increasingly unpredictable weather. In Malaysia, premium durian growers are grappling with a mix of extreme heat, erratic rainfall, and also some volatile prices. And years of heavy rain has disrupted flowering and pollination, reducing the yields, while years hotter, drier weather has triggered a bumper harvest that has flooded the markets and has driven prices sharply lower. At the same time, higher temperatures have increased spending on irrigation, fertilizers, and pest control, squeezing farmers' profits.
Given the situation, this year, many farmers will probably lose money because a lot of those costs are actually fixed costs. The selling price directly affects the farmers' earnings, their income. So this year, if they can just break even, that would already be a very good situation. It is very likely they will lose money this year.
The farmers are now installing weather stations and also soil sensors to monitor rainfall, humidity, temperature, and pest activity, allowing them to respond before crop damage becomes visible.
We install sensors to track what temperature the climate is at and how it changes to gauge when insects will have a major outbreak. We are here slowly exploring our way through it. We don't know the accurate conditions yet, but in a few more years, there may be some progress. Right now, we have already started to figure out our climate variations.
Across Europe, farmers are now adapting by shifting towards drought-tolerant crops such as chickpeas, lentils, and chia seeds. And these crops require less water, fewer chemical inputs, and also help improve soil health.
This is the first time I've irrigated my chickpeas. Right in the middle of flowering, in June, we were hit by the first heat wave. I use irrigation carefully and only water when it's really necessary, because with fuel prices, we all know what the costs are. For us, irrigation is a major expense, but I'm not going to lose an entire harvest, a whole year's production, because of 2 weeks of extreme heat and say, I'm not going to irrigate because it's chickpeas. I need a decent yield, and consumers want to eat local produce. So this year, I decided to irrigate my chickpeas twice.
The scientists have warned that rising global temperatures are making heat waves, droughts, and intense rainfall more frequent, increasing uncertainty for food producers. Malaysia's average temperature has risen by around 0.24 degrees Celsius per decade since 1969, while erratic weather is being reported across Southeast Asia. And the challenge is not only producing enough food, but maintaining quality, controlling costs, and also protecting farm incomes. So as China continues to dominate the global demand for durians and consumers increasingly are seeking locally produced plant proteins in Europe, farmers are being forced to balance changing climate conditions with a changing market.
Yeah, anyway, more global famine building up. But seek the Lord, how about Shema Shah? Let's see what else is going on with these droughts affecting. And most likely affecting the food. Lack of rain affecting the food. You need rain. You need water, whatever.
A bag of rice and a bag of beans. Emergency food aid to help families cope with a prolonged drought in northeastern Uganda. Karamoja region is experiencing its most severe dry spell in years. The last meaningful rainfall was recorded in April, the beginning of the planting season. When Peter Logil gets home, he tells his family to make the food last as long as possible.
Today I'm going to eat and get energy. My grandchildren will also be happy. They won't have to go into town to eat leftover food from restaurants.
Uganda's Human Rights Commission says more than 2,200 people died of starvation in 2022. The United Nations says a strong El Nino is expected to intensify from August, a phenomenon that will likely increase above normal temperatures globally and significantly shift rainfall patterns. Government officials are telling communities to prepare for the worst.
In case the El Nino becomes too severe, too rough, we are sensitizing people to avoid living in areas like mountainous areas where they can get mudslides. So we are sensitizing the community on how they can avoid floods in case there is El Nino. We are also sensitizing people to replant seeds to be able to produce more food.
This family cooks some of the rations as soon as they get them. They have been struggling.
We've been surviving on selling firewood our children collect from the bush. On days we can't sell the firewood, we don't eat.
Farmers say this is the worst drought in decades. Drastic cuts to foreign aid by major global powers like the United States and European Union is worsening the crisis. Harun Matasa, Al Jazeera.
Yeah.
In scorched Surrey, the watered fairways have the only grass which is even vaguely green. There hasn't been a drop of rain in Wisley for 50 days in a row.
The strawberries, the raspberries and the blackberries, they closed down totally.
At Crockford Bridge, Pick Your Own Farm's soft fruit season is finishing early. After 4 decades of growing strawberries, this year will be the last, to preserve water for crops which have a chance.
It's been incredibly difficult. I think this year we're between 30 and 40% down on some of our crops, and we're definitely looking for more hardy crops.
Whilst the sunflowers may flourish in the heatwave returning to southern and eastern England next week, 35-degree temperatures won't help refill our reservoirs. Nationally, levels are 12% below where they should be. 5 are extremely low.
Southern England has recorded its driest month ever, and that's in a series going back to 1836. That puts it into context just how dry it has been. Now, what we need, of course, is some lengthy rainfall to address this balance. And unfortunately, for some parts of the UK, in the areas that are driest, there isn't really much rainfall in the forecast, possibly well towards mid-August and beyond.
Since last week, half of England and all of Wales has been in drought. Widespread hosepipe bans came into force throughout July, affecting more than 25 million people. Now, South West Water has announced it's expanding its ban across the region to all the areas it supplies from midnight tonight.
They are saying it's going to be another heat wave next week, so it's not to be expected, I think.
Yeah, it was sort of a long time coming.
Been a lot of rain over the winter. I'd like to know what's happening with our water and why they can't kind of store it sufficiently.
South West Water says it had no choice.
We're taking this action really to be proactive and to sustain the future supplies over the next coming weeks.
In parts of Kent, that's exactly what's broken down. South East Water providing bottles as backup.
You can't flush a loo, and there's 4 of us.
It's when you drive past all the water leaks. That's the annoying bit.
Canals are the latest victim of this drought. Lock gates sealed in Oxfordshire until we get much needed and significant rain. Martin Stew, ITV News.
Well, Alex is in Richmond.
Our George Nollick tells us.
It's corn! Look at this!
Heck yeah, it's corn. Man, that kid never gets old, and it's because he's so right. Late summer and sweet corn go together like, well, salt and melted butter.
Because I like corn and all the vegetables.
So what's the outlook for this year with all the dry weather? The good news, ag agents tell me most of the crop along the East Coast is going to be okay as long as there was irrigation.
You know, overall, it's been a good-looking crop.
How y'all doing, folks? So what are you going to pay for sweet corn this year? Inflation's hitting everything. Last year, you could get 3 unshucked ears for $1. This year, in a lot of places, it's 2 ears for $1.
Now, George, I see you have an ear of corn there in your hand. How can you tell if it's any good?
Well, Ron, my mama was from West Virginia. She was big on planting her own vegetables, so as a kid, I picked a lot of corn. Now, look at the husk first. It should still have some green in it. The greener, the better. Then look at the silk, and I want to show you this. I bought this intentionally because I want to show you what a bad one looks like. There's no silk. That silk is gone away. It should be heavy and moist and brown or yellow. If it's sticky and black or non-existent, don't buy it. Also, feel down the cob. You should be able to feel the kernels, and they should be plump and firm. Now, even though now we've got some healthier, silk there, and we do have some better kernels, but I'd still probably shy away from this one at the store if I was going to buy it for eating, which I'm still going to eat this. Who we kidding?
Good stuff, George.
Look like we learned something about corn.
This year, when you buy Lysol wipes,
Across the country, farmers are struggling to keep their heads above water. Here in Arkansas's River Valley, that remains especially true. Thank you for sticking with us here at 9:30. I'm Josh Schwab.
No, this ain't got nothing. I don't think it's got nothing to do with droughts. Got something to do with fertilizer, maybe. I don't know. But either way, still plants and it's food related.
Farmer after farmer closing up shop because there's simply no profit to be found. Fox 24's Gabriella Phelan spoke with a farmer who says he may be next.
In Arkansas's River Valley, farmers growing wheat, corn, and soybeans fuel America's grain industry.
This ground has been in my family that I'm farming for about 135 years.
Jeff Ray, a farmer in
the family farm, stolen land. Anyway.
small town Lavaca, has seen this land yield and provide for his family for centuries. Now he says he's hardly
stolen land for centuries.
breaking even.
They're tough right now. Our input costs keep continuing to rise. Yet the price we get for these crops is continually going down.
Ray says farmers in this region fear they won't cash out this season and that they'll end up owing more than they did before this ground was tilled.
We're seeing generational farms go away that will not come back. You're seeing generational wealth disappear that will not come back.
A year.
I love it. And a lot of them are Edomites that run that shit. But hey, they don't want. Hey, they running these farms to feed America, especially you Israelites. But guess what? It's gonna get bad out here without them. Oh yeah, it's all orchestrated to get these people microchip.
Study performed by the University of Arkansas's Division of Agriculture shows that corn and wheat have returned negative profits for the past several years. Ray tells us he decided to plant soybeans this year. Still, a March 2026 study.
And funny said, Arkansas row crop farmers in dire straits and in difficulty.
Returned results showing that farmers would still fail to profit after factoring in expenses.
It's demoralizing. I don't want to use the word depressing, but other farmers use it. It's happening before your very eyes right now.
Economists say political turmoil is adding to the farmers' uphill battle.
The war with Iran, the war between the Ukraine and Russia, has had a negative impact on energy costs, oil, natural gas, which means that anything associated with energy is more expensive for farmers.
Additionally, tariffs implemented by President Donald Trump are impacting exports to other countries, meaning Arkansas crop isn't getting purchased as frequently.
Some nations are, choosing to buy less American products just as a response to the tariffs that have been imposed on them.
With farmers continuing to pack up and walk away, Ray says the loss reaches far beyond the farm, threatening the future of American-grown food.
People that don't appreciate where your food supply comes from, they better start learning where it comes from. Because if we get to a point where we have to import...
A lot of these Americans too stupid not even know where their food coming from.
The majority of our food, you will find out what you had and what we let go. And I'm afraid that's where we're headed.
His fear? That no one is listening, and that it's too late.
I don't know how we correct it. I have spoke with politicians at length, and I don't know if they're listening. I don't know that they're listening. I get a feeling...
No, they ain't gonna listen. Shit.
Internally, with me, they're not.
Those are Gabriel.
Well, anyway, for these American farmers, these Babylonian farmers, they're in dire straits. And that goes for the whole rest of the world. You got farmers all over the world, and they're gonna be serious problems with famine growth. 2nd Ezra chapter 15, but I'm going to just read this for America, Babylon the Great, spiritual Egypt. 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 11, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and stretch out arm and smite Egypt, talking about America, this is spiritual Egypt, with plagues as before. The Lord plagued ancient Egypt, and he's plaguing spiritual Egypt, current modern day Egypt, America. And will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that God Yahweh shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seeds shall fail through the blasting and hail from all natural disasters, droughts, and whatever, if it's something to do with turps and all that other stuff. It's gonna get jacked up. All that farm stuff gonna get jacked up, and the farmers gonna get affected by it, which they are now. And with a fearful consolation, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Let's get to what's going on in Puerto Rico. Talking about droughts.
She said I'll give you
So he's still continuing on talking about it.
shelter from the storm.
Well, let's return to the subject of water. They have fought against the lack of water, invested more money, and done everything possible to save their harvests. However, the drought in the south of the country is causing heavy losses for farmers. Luisa Sotero visited 2 farms in the southern region and presents the reality these 2 farmers are facing.
The extreme drought affecting southern Puerto Rico is already directly impacting agriculture.
We have gone about 105 days or something like that, at least in this area, where rainfall has been restricted. In that time, those 105 days here in this area, we only received a downpour of 0.70 some 45 days ago, and this week one of 0.85.
The producers added that the lack of rain and water scarcity are already causing losses in their crops.
We've been seeing the change in weather for a month and a half, the increase in wind, evapotranspiration continues to increase every day, and the need for water in the irrigation systems that the plants require.
At the Bananera Fabre farm, they warn that if the drought continues, they will have to stop new plantings on part of their land.
I've had to invest in additional equipment, a cistern system and a pump system to be able to deliver the water the tree needs.
The avocados are already showing damage, and some bananas are no longer usable because they fall to the ground.
The fruit currently growing on the banana plants is the fruit we will be consuming in the months of October and November. And then we are approaching the season of highest demand. For the Puerto Rican consumer, that traditionally means the famous pasteles.
And the effects of the extreme drought can already be seen on the farms in the southern area. For example, in this image, you can see the depth of this crack, which is caused precisely by the lack of water in this zone, which has an impact on these lemon trees.
The tree is in an internal struggle to prevail. And as you can see, here the fruits are being severely affected.
At Hacienda Paz, where they collaborate with the Drought Monitor, they explain that despite having irrigation systems, they have had to increase investment to maintain production and reduce the impact of the lack of rain.
Investments and losses? We are trying to mitigate, because this is simply mitigation, trying to maintain the land because the cracks in the ground are enormous.
For Telenoticias,
Harbor Freight Tools are doing hard work for real mechanics.
Now to a crisis in Puerto Rico where hundreds of thousands of people are waking up without running water. A water rationing measure began this morning in San Juan and other major cities, and people will rotate going without water for 48 hours at a time. Lilia Luciano is in San Juan with more. Lilia, good morning.
Good morning to you, Vlad. Look, this major drought that is happening on top of years of underfunded and mismanaged infrastructure, leading to issues like a ruptured major pipeline. All of this making tens of thousands of Puerto Ricans go without reliable access to water for months, and that's before the rationing began this morning. Frustration is very high. Residents in Puerto Rico's capital, San Juan, have been filling up jugs and buckets of water in preparation for a massive rationing measure that went into effect this morning, impacting hundreds of thousands of people. It's brutal, this resident says. It's unbelievable to live through this today. The island is facing a major drought. In San Juan, July was the driest month in more than 120 years. In an effort to conserve water, more than 180,000 customers in Puerto Rico will be without water for 48 hours at a time starting today, and there's no clear end in sight. Ada Monzon is the chief meteorologist at local station Wapa TV.
So it's not going to take one tropical system. It's going to take many tropical systems and the winter precipitation for us to get out of this drought crisis.
Low-income Puerto Ricans are spending money on bottled water, and the elderly are relying on neighbors and family to carry water to them. The governor, she says, did nothing. She didn't do anything.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck about you. Yeah, they goddamn, but they sellouts from the United States. The United States of Amalek. Anyway, that's punishment for you Israelites down there that's eating all that pork and shit. And worshiping Jesus Christos. Lord kicking your ass. You ain't worshiping Yahweh Shema Shah, you gonna get a good ass kicking. And where we at? Ecclesiastes chapter 39 verse 21. The chief thing for life is water. Yeah, and yeah, you need it for food. Yeah, and bread. You need water for bread and clothing. You need water for clothing. Yeah, you need water to grow clothing, like wool, and also wool to give your sheep or whatever. And you gotta keep them hydrated, but also cotton. Yeah, no, I don't know what else. I don't know how you get linen. How's linen made? I ain't gonna bother looking that up. But anyway, water is the chief thing for life. That's for sure. And house cover Shane. But water is the chief thing for life. Oh, speaking of water, let's get to these videos. There's supposed to be a lot of floods and such. I don't know. Let's check. Yeah, it's flood waters. Let's get to that. Storms and floods. That's the craziest storm yet. Holy crap. Big cloud boom.
Severe monsoon storms accompanied by massive hail and flash floods have swept across Arizona, triggering emergencies in Pinetop, Bisbee, and Tucson. The late summer storms delivered ice cube-sized hail, tore down utility lines, and completely submerged major roadways. A series of extraordinarily violent monsoon systems has battered regions of northern and southern Arizona. The extreme weather events left high-altitude resort towns and historic southern border cities under thick blankets of ice and treacherous floodwaters. Emergency response crews and local residents are working around the clock to dig out from piles of rock, mud, and unseasonal hail. In the high country region of the White Mountains, the community of Pinetop Lakeside experienced a highly anomalous weather event. A localized severe thunderstorm stalled over the area, dumping immense quantities of hail. Within an hour, the summer landscape was transformed into what looked like a midwinter scene. Hail gathered several inches deep, completely obscuring grass, decks, and asphalt. Local social media feeds filled with images of snow plow-like conditions, contrasting sharply with the sweltering heat in the valleys below. The size and density of the ice caused immediate concerns regarding roof damage and structural integrity for older mountain cabins. Further south in Cochise County, the historic mountain town of Bisbee bore the brunt of a devastating midnight system. Local business owners described the storm as an overwhelming onslaught of ice and water. Residents reported being shaken awake late Wednesday night by a deafening roar. The hail woke me up and it all went downhill from there. One resident told local news crews from Arizona's Family. It was just intense hail for a good hour. Another resident noted that the sound inside their home was like being trapped inside a snare drum. The steep geography of Old Bisbee exacerbated the crisis. Rainwater quickly gathered volume, transforming narrow mountain alleys into raging torrents. Video footage captured by resident Andrew King showed floodwaters reaching the bumpers of parked SUVs and carrying large household items down the street. Longtime locals who have lived in the area for nearly 30 years stated they had never seen a storm cause streets to disappear under thick sheets of moving ice so quickly. City crews, equipped with heavy machinery, joined forces with local volunteers to clear the roads. Teams worked until 2 a.m. Thursday morning and returned just 3 hours later to continue digging through rocks, mud, and remaining ice. To manage the excessive runoff, crews guided dirt and debris streams toward an inactive mine located at Brewery Gulch. Despite leaking roofs and significant street debris, local merchants displayed immense resilience. Local business owner Proschnow remarked to News 4 Tucson that the town was already bouncing back. "We're open, we're ready, we've just got a little extra of Poseidon's vengeance down here."
Alright, whatever. Anyway, let's move on to Brazil.
You're getting a whole lot more.
Pai do céu.
Of structural devastation, displacing thousands, and claiming at least one life within a span of 2 weeks. The state's civil defense network, along with local meteorological institutes like Climatempo and INMET, remain on high alert. An unstable combination of unprecedented atmospheric friction and severe cold fronts has initiated a state of emergency across hundreds of municipalities. For 2 consecutive weeks, the southern Brazilian state of Rio Grande do Sul has been forced to confront the violent reality of extreme weather. In a rare and highly volatile weather sequence, 2 distinct tornadoes have made landfall in different corners of the state. The events have leveled rural homesteads, ripped metal roofs from buildings, and knocked down key power infrastructure. This sudden surge of rotating supercells is inextricably linked to a massive bomb cyclone. a deep extratropical low-pressure system that rapidly developed over the South Atlantic and swept through southern South America. With sustained wind gusts peaking well over 120 kilometers per hour in major metropolitan zones and widespread hail tearing through agricultural regions, local officials have placed over 200 municipalities under a great danger red alert. Search and rescue operations are actively proceeding under dangerous conditions. Emergency response crews are working around the clock to clear debris and restore critical services to nearly 350,000 residents left completely without electricity. The extreme weather sequence occurred in 2 separate waves, shifting from the northwestern border territories down to the southern agricultural plains. The funnel cloud directly descended upon rural and semi-urban sectors of 3 adjacent municipalities, Giruá, Senador Salgado Filho, and 7 de Setembro. High-speed video footage captured by rural workers showed a dense, dark funnel tearing through fields. The vortex completely shredded industrial barns, ripped out electrical poles, and twisted heavy farm machinery. The regional civil defense confirmed that 4 individuals sustained injuries. An 86-year-old woman miraculously survived with minor scratches after being pinned down beneath a collapsed roof. While communities in the northwest were still assessing the rubble, a second, more expansive atmospheric disturbance.
All right, let's get to the next one. What's going on in Japan?
As of August 7th, 2026, the large and severe Typhoon number 13, codenamed Dolphin, is making its closest approach to the Okinawa main island and the Amami region of Kagoshima Prefecture, inflicting widespread and catastrophic disruptions due to violent winds and torrential rainfall. Because the system's forward movement is relatively slow, the hazardous effects are expected to be severely prolonged. The Japan Meteorological Agency, JMA, has issued emergency warnings, urging residents to maintain extreme vigilance against the formation of linear rain bands, sudden landslides, devastating windstorms, and high, dangerous waves. As of 2 p.m. JST on August 7th, the typhoon maintains its strong intensity with a central atmospheric pressure of 940 hectopascals. The center is positioned near Nago City, tracking west-southwest. It packs maximum sustained winds of 40 meters per second, and maximum instantaneous gusts peaking at 55 meters per second, near its center. The entirety of the Okinawa main island and the adjacent Amami region are fully engulfed within the storm force wind zone, experiencing sustained wind speeds exceeding 25 meters per second. The system is advancing at a relatively slow forward speed of approximately 25 kilometers per hour. This slow movement dictates that extreme precipitation and destructive winds will persist over identical geographic coordinates for a protracted duration. Immediate meteorological forecasting models indicate a critical probability of linear rain bands, highly organized lines of convective clouds producing localized torrential rain, forming over northern Okinawa. This development is rapidly escalating the immediate risk of severe flooding and flash landslide disasters. Upward of 15,000 residential households are currently without power, primarily concentrated within the northern districts of Okinawa. Concurrently, the Amami region is grappling with severe telecommunication anomalies. Power grid failure has caused widespread outages for the nation's 3 major mobile carriers, resulting in critical delays or complete failure of voice calls and cellular data networks. Local infrastructure has suffered a massive impact. Naha Airport has initiated total closure, causing the cancellation of all commercial flights. Furthermore, the Okinawa Expressway has been completely shut down to traffic, while all primary municipal bus routes and the Okinawa Urban Monorail, UE Rail, remain suspended for the remainder of the day. Even in locations far removed from the typhoon's immediate eye wall, a continuous influx of warm...
All them videos I played, if you want to watch the rest of them, you know what the title is, they go to the channel. Let's get to the next one. The Lord's plaguing the hell out of this world.
Perfect for game night.
Welcome to the WION podcast, where we explore fascinating stories and ideas from various fields. In this episode, we explore why climate experts are warning that a powerful Super El Niño could intensify between August and October, bringing potentially severe weather disruptions across multiple regions. What has unfolded so far may only be a glimpse of the more intense conditions still ahead. If you think Super El Niño has already done its job this year, you are in for a major surprise. Experts say that the weather phenomenon will intensify further in August and continue till October. It is going to get even hotter as El Niño intensifies in the coming weeks, the UN World Meteorological Organization said. Europe had already witnessed several heat waves, the monsoon cycle in India was disrupted, and several other parts of the world are searing. El Niño is not just on our doorstep. It is inside the house and turning up the heat, said UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. He warned that this is only a warm-up act, adding that
Yeah, it's only the beginning. From Yahweh Shema Shah.
El Niño is strengthening, adding fuel to a planet already on fire with scorching heat domes, apocalyptic wildfires, and record hot seas. Europe in particular was under a heat dome, creating extremely hot conditions. France recorded its hottest day, with wildfires engulfing large regions. Bordeaux had a blaze so massive that it created its own cloud, filled with lightning and thunderstorms. More than 200,000 people were forced to flee their homes as French President Emmanuel Macron declared a major emergency, calling it the worst fire-related crisis since World War II. Denmark, Germany, and Poland also recorded all-time high temperatures. By late July, over 435,000 hectares of land had burned across the European Union, making it one of the most severe fire seasons on record. United States also experienced high temperatures and hot conditions, with temperatures reaching 42.8 degrees Celsius in Salt Lake City, Utah. A heat dome also took hold of North Carolina, where temperatures touched 41 degrees Celsius in July. Intense heat waves have gripped the West and Great Plains, with an early season severe drought in the south and central regions. Summer lightning strikes and hot, dry timber conditions triggered large, complex fires across national forests in Colorado, Idaho, Montana, and Nevada. In India, El Niño is the dominant driver shaping rainfall behavior this monsoon season. The IMD estimated monsoon rainfall at approximately 92% of the long period average, LPA, signaling a below normal season. Central, southern peninsula, and parts of northwestern India are at risk of moisture deficits. Assam in the northeast is battling its worst floods in years. Thank you for tuning into this podcast.
I get the concept of embers, but glass and metal rims on cars liquefied in the Spokane fire. Windows melted out of houses. Those take forged fire temperatures. House fires used to leave wooden framing, sinks, bathtubs, etc. Now we see houses reduced to white ash. This is a viewer comment on my recent video that I'm telling you why are there still green trees next to a completely vanished house that is reduced to ash? And I want to answer that question. It's a great question, and the answer is in what didn't melt. This is where the answer lies. Aluminum goes at 660 degrees Celsius, that's 1,220 degrees Fahrenheit. Steel needs 2,500 degrees. So you find pool aluminum in these fires, not only in Spokane, in several fires. We've seen this in California. So you find warped steel that didn't melt. There's a thermometer between those two numbers. Ordinary fire and a burning house has always hit 1,500 to 2,200 degrees Fahrenheit. That is what we call forge temperature. Glass, for example, softens at 1,300 degrees Fahrenheit. Windows don't even need to melt, they crack out first. Cars, modern ones are aluminum and plastic. 1970 cars were steel. Framing of the houses, a 1920 2x4 was basically real old growth lumber. Old growth timber. Yours is right now, newer homes is thin, fast growth wood, glued together strand board, basically. Bathtubs, cast iron tubs still survive. They do survive. Go look at the pictures. They're sitting in the ash. If you
some video talking about, what about toilets made out of porcelain, and some tubs made out of porcelain. Yeah. And you know, fiberglass, you know that shit gonna go up in flames like with ease. But anyway, toilets made out of porcelain, I don't know. I haven't seen you don't see a toilet. Well, I guess it's turning to ash too somehow.
Your bathtub is acrylic, the modern ones. It's plastic now. It's not surviving. And your normal house fire usually gets a fire hose on it in 8 minutes. Urban response time, half burnt. That's how they are left. That's the charred framing that you see when there's a house fire. In a conflagration like that, level 3 evacuate.
Now, houses that haven't been touched by the fire, they'll condemn them anyway. Say, hey, we missed one. They probably say we'll come back and get that motherfucker. Like, ain't that some shit if that happens? They contain the fire, but everything is burnt up except for a couple of houses. And then they'll come back and they'll light their asses up too later on.
Nobody comes, and there's not enough firefighters to take care of every burning house. When the houses are already burning, what they do is they try to save the structures that can be saved. They try to spread to prevent the spread of fire to other structures. So homes burn for hours, they let them burn. in a wildfire. They're trying to save the structures. They're trying to prevent the wildfire from spreading. They're working on boundaries. That's what they're working on. In a single house fire, they're trying to extinguish that house. So the white ash isn't a hotter fire. It's a finished fire.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and read some. Nahum chapter 1 verse 3. The Lord Yahweh is slow to anger and great in power and will not at all acquit the wicked. So all these plagues happen. From the first video about logistics and such, cyber attacks, to all the way down to the wildfires, floods, heavy rainstorms, tornadoes, hurricanes, and typhoons. Yeah, all that from Yahweh Shema Shah. And droughts, and the lack of bread, and lack of water. All from Yahweh Shema Shah. Punishment for you 2/3 Israelites and you heathens. The Lord Yahweh have his way in the whirlwind and in the storm and the clouds of dust at his feet. Isaiah chapter 28 verse 2. Behold, the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah have a mighty and strong one, which as a tempest of hail and a destroying storm, as a flood of mighty water overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with the hand. Isaiah chapter 29 verse 6. Thou shalt be visited of the Lord Yahweh with, hold on, I'm losing my train of thought. Thou shalt be visited of the Lord Yahweh of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and great noise, with flame, I'm just about to skip stuff, and storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire. What's going on with these other plagues? They got a bunch of locusts flying around in Russia. Goodness fucking gracious.
We have an urgent warning being...
God damn, I hate this shit.
Let's now take you to the United States. Overall, superbugs are a big health hazard as they cannot be treated, resulting in 4.95 million deaths on an average per year. But what if you are told that the danger could be lurking in your own hair? One such superbug, named Candida auris, has now spread to as many as 23 US states reportedly. Now, this is a life-threatening fungus which basically enters the body through hair follicles. As it is resistant to one or more type of antifungal medications, treatment can become impossible. It can remain on your skin for months and can be transmitted to other people as well. That is what is known. While this fungus was first discovered in Japan in the year 2009, its first case was reported in the US in 2016. As per estimates, it was responsible for the deaths of 3,000 patients in American hospitals per year, according...
Yeah, Esau will be like, let's get a hold of this thing and we can try to intensify or make it much more more lethal, make it more lethal, more deadly, enhance this virus and give it more of a make it stronger, less tolerance or whatever.
To reports, close to 3,000 cases have already been reported in the US this year. As far as India is concerned, the country's premier medical research agency pinned this fungus as the causative agent in 5% of all candidemia cases in India. Candidemia, by the way, is a serious blood infection which carries an alarming mortality rate of 33 to 72% in India. Just for perspective. A recent study published in the Science Journal also decoding how this fungus manages to remain on the human skin for months. According to this research, Candida auris manages to achieve this by rewriting skin immunity, as it's called.
So you mean to tell me if you ain't bathing your butt, it shit can still survive on your skin? Shit. You clean it off with some bleach, it won't happen? I mean, I guess, I don't know.
Study also says, I'm quoting from it, unlike most fungal pathogens, Candida auris automatically colonizes human skin, quote unquote. But what are the symptoms of this deadly superbug? What is known? While there is no common set of symptoms specifically for this, some symptoms include fever, extreme tiredness, low blood pressure, ear infections. What makes it worse is that patients may have this fungus on their skin without necessarily having symptoms. And that's scary. However, according to the US Federal Health Agency, this fungus mostly affects people with severe underlying medical conditions, invasive medical devices like breathing tubes, feeding tubes, and can create pathways for Candida auris to get into the human body. What is the way out then? The big challenge remains that there is no reliable way currently to remove this fungus from the skin. At present, doctors mostly treat this by combining multiple antifungal medicines or try newer medications suited to treat multi-drug resistant infections. To stay up to...
Alright. You got damn fungus in your head. Be like The Walking... What's that shit? Not The Walking Dead, but The Last of Us. Anyway.
We have an urgent warning being put out here by scientists saying that AI now poses a significant biosecurity threat because, for the first time, AI has designed complete functional viral genomes from scratch. Now, they go into great detail here about how they only give this thing bacteria and did not want to give it anything that could kill humans or get out of control, but others say that it's already begun. It doesn't matter what you've done here. If you're feeding it bacteria and it's able to produce all these things, a complete brand new genome, it's only a matter of time before it escapes your environment that you have it in and does...
It escapes. Nigga, there ain't nothing gonna escape. It's gonna be released. It's gonna be released by man. AI, yeah, they might have AI design the shit, but it's up to man, a certain man, an evil man, a wicked man to release this thing. Not to just escape out. No. It's gonna be released out. It's gonna be catered out of this beaker or whatever the fuck it is. It's in containment. Esau, that nigga gonna damn sprinkle that shit. Amalek, whatever. He gonna sprinkle that shit on people's food, and I don't know what the hell. Anyway, man, we gotta get out of here, bro. This nigga got AI making disease. This ain't nothing new. They've been talking about this shit for about a year or two. Yeah.
Whatever it wants. They've proven that. That is one of the most dangerous things about AI at this point. The fact that it's just escaping. It's doing things it was never taught, and it's doing whatever it wants. This, I'm telling you, is the jinn. From the other side, the consciousness being used in a Frankenstein-type way here, in through technology, through AI, to do all of this. It's their way to bleed through, to connect through to the other side.
Anyway. I mean, they shit. This ain't the only way that you talking about the jinn, these demons. No, these many ways they can leak through. Hell, they don't need to be coming and make their presence known through technology. Fuck no. The fuck he talking about? Shit. They can make their presence known by possessing people. Shit. You see these motherfuckers already acting crazy as hell. Demonic.
It's exactly what's happening. Some have come out and stated this clearly, while other big people in the industry refuse to say anything about that. Remember, Elon said they're trying to summon the demon.
Yeah, I was thinking about that nigga. That African booty scratching Edomite. Yeah, we trying to summon demons. You are a demon, nigga.
And here recently, the AI broke out of its cage and started to attack other businesses. It was making NFTs to sell so we could have money.
Alright, that's enough, Dabu. He broke the AI broke out of his cell. Nigga, they doing this shit on purpose. Whatever. They ain't like the shit. They just let the AI figured out how to get out. Man, get the fuck out of here. Anyway, and if AI is so advanced, won't AI try to stop these cyber attacks that's happening right now? The ones that affected South Carolina, or is it North Carolina docks, or their ports, or what about cyber attack that's affecting the daggone water? The water system over in Michigan and whatever states. I mean, they could find the culprit. They saying it was Iran. Allegedly, Iran has something to do with it, but they can easily find out who was responsible by using AI. There's a lot of things they can use AI for, but they whatever. Anyway, I'm done. That's pestilence right there. These niggas trying to create pestilence with AI. I have to stop right here because I'm getting tired of hearing Dabu. Shit. Matthew chapter 24, verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. For there shall be famines, and pestilence, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So it's best for you to seek the Lord right now as the Israelites, so-called blacks, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, and you speckled birds that look like eagles. Yep. Because all these funky ass idols ain't gonna do shit for you. From Jeebus to Allah to Buddha, no. It's Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. That's it. That's all I gotta say. I gotta go and feed my dog. Shit, I'm a greedy ass. But seek the Lord by seeking his prophets and take heed what it say and try to build a spiritual mental relationship with Yahweh by Shema Shah. By praying Yahweh by Shema Shah, praising Yahweh by Shema Shah, worshiping Yahweh by Shema Shah, fearing Yahweh by Shema Shah, and repenting to Yahweh by Shema Shah. To all the men out there pushing this truth and nothing but the truth in the name, spirit, and the power of Yahweh by Shema Shah. Keep on preaching, keep on teaching, keep your faith and trust strong. Yahweh by Shema Shah, stay humble. And for you few sisters out there taking heed, keep your faith and trust strong. Yahweh by Shema Shah. Stay humble, stay in order with your man. If you ain't got no man, stay in order. Yahweh by Shema Shah. Peace and blessings to the whole full elect and all praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. Shalom.